Chapter 1. Crash and Burn. The engine made that sound again. The one that meant trouble. Ella gripped the steering wheel tighter as her BMW coughed and wheezed down the empty highway. Rain hammered the windshield. The GPS had lost signal 20 miles back, leaving her alone with nothing but dark road and fear. Come on, baby. Just a little further. He patted the dashboard like it might help. It didn't. The car shuddered once, twice, then died completely. Ella coasted to the shoulder, her heart hammering. He tried the ignition. Nothing. Not even a click. Perfect. Just perfect. She grabbed her phone. No bars. Of course. Thunder rumbled overhead. Through the rain-streaked windows she could see nothing but empty roads stretching into darkness. No gas stations. No houses. No help. She thought about Marcus and his slick smile. About what she'd seen in his office 3 hours ago. The briefcase full of cash. The handshake with that scarred man. The way they'd both gone silent when they saw her in the doorway. Ella, sweetheart, you didn't see anything. Sis. But she had. And now she was running. The sound of an engine cut through the storm. Headlights appeared in her rearview mirror, growing bigger. Fast. Too fast. Ella's breath caught. The motorcycle was flying down the wet road, weaving like the rider was drunk or crazy or both. She pressed herself back in her seat as it roared past. The bike suddenly swerved. Brakes screamed. The rider fought for control, barely missing her car as he skidded sideways and came to a stop just feet from her bumper. For a moment, everything was silent except for the rain. Then the rider straightened up and looked at her. Even through the rain and darkness she could see blood on his face. His leather jacket was torn. And his eyes, dark, dangerous and fixed right on her. He kicked down the bike stand and walked over to her window. Ella's finger hovered over the door lock, but it was already too late. He knocked on the glass with a gloved hand. You okay in there? His voice was rough like whiskey and smoke. She cracked the window an inch. I'm fine. Car trouble. It's handled. He tilted his head, studying her. Up close she could see the cut on his cheek, the way his dark hair stuck to his forehead. He was big, dangerous looking, and definitely not the kind of man her mother would approve of. Lady, you're stopped on a highway in the middle of nowhere during a storm. That doesn't look handled to me. I said I'm fine. And I'm saying you're not. He glanced back down the road, tension in his shoulders. Look, I don't have time to argue. You want a ride or not? With you? On that. He stared at the motorcycle. Absolutely not. Suit yourself. He started to turn away. That's when she saw the lights. 2 sets of headlights coming fast down the road behind them. The rider saw them too. His jaw tightened. Change your mind yet? Ella's pulse spiked. Those could be anyone. But something in her gut said they weren't friendly. And this stranger, blood on his face and trouble in his wake, might be her only way out. If you try anything. I won't. How do I know that? He looked at her for a long moment. Because if I wanted to hurt you I wouldn't have stopped to ask. The headlights were getting closer. Ella made her choice. She grabbed her purse, locked the car and stepped into the rain. It hit her like ice water, soaking through her silk blouse in seconds. Here. He pulled off his leather jacket and held it out. You're bleeding. I'll live. When she didn't take it he stepped closer and wrapped it around her shoulders. His hands brushed her arms and she felt a shock of heat despite the cold rain. What's your name? She asked. Rafe. He swung his leg over the bike. Yours. Ella. Well, Ella, hold on tight. She climbed on behind him, her skirt riding up as she settled against the warm leather seat. The bike was still hot from the engine vibrating between her thighs. I've never, she started. Just wrap your arms around me and don't let go. The headlights were close now. Too close. Ella pressed herself against Rafe's back, her arms circling his waist. He was solid muscle under his shirt, warm despite the rain. She could smell leather and something else. Something dangerous and male that made her stomach flutter. Ready? He called over his shoulder. She wasn't. But she nodded anyway. The engine roared to life. Rafe gunned it and they shot forward into the storm. Ella squeezed her eyes shut as the bike leaned into the curves, Rafe's body moving with the machine like they were one. The wind whipped her hair, the rain stung her face, and her heart hammered against her ribs. Behind them, the headlights fell back, swallowed by the darkness. She should have been terrified. Should have been thinking about how stupid this was, climbing onto a motorcycle with a bleeding stranger in the middle of the night. Instead, pressed against Rafe's broad back with his jacket wrapped around her and the highway rushing beneath them, Ella felt something she hadn't felt in years. Alive. Chapter 2. Ride or Die. The bike ate up the miles, carrying them deeper into the night. Ella's arms ached from holding on, but she didn't dare loosen her grip. Every time Rafe leaned into a curve, she felt like she might slide right off. "Where are we going?" she yelled over the wind. "Away from those headlights." That wasn't an answer, but it was all she was getting. The rain had stopped, but the road was still slick. Streetlights became few and far between until there were none at all. Just them, the bike, and endless darkness. Ella's thighs burned from gripping the seat. Her silk blouse was ruined, clinging to her like a second skin. But pressed against Rafe's back, she felt oddly safe. His body moved with the bike like he'd been born on it. "You do this often?" she called out. "Pick up stranded women?" "Only the pretty ones." Even shouting over the engine, his voice made something flutter in her chest. They rode for another hour before Rafe finally slowed down. A neon sign appeared ahead, Desert Rose Motel. Half the letters were burned out and the parking lot was mostly empty. "Seriously?" Ella stared at the rundown building. "This is where you're taking me? Would you rather go back to those cars?" She didn't answer. They both knew she couldn't. Rafe parked near the office. When Ella tried to get off the bike, her legs nearly buckled. Riding for hours had left her muscles cramped and shaky. "Easy." Rafe's hands steadied her waist. His touch was warm, gentle. Nothing like she'd expected from someone who looked so dangerous. "I'm fine." "Sure you are." But he didn't let go until she was steady. The motel office smelled like cigarettes and cheap air freshener. The desk clerk was ancient, with yellowed teeth and suspicious eyes. "We need a room," Rafe said. "How many beds?" Ella opened her mouth to say 2, but Rafe cut her off. "1. I don't think. 1 room, 1 bed." He slapped cash on the counter. "And we were never here." The old man's eyes lit up at the money. "Room 7. End of the row. Nice and quiet." Rafe grabbed the key and headed for the door. Ella hurried after him. "Excuse me? 1 bed. You got a problem with that? I don't even know you." He stopped walking and turned to face her. In the parking lot's dim light, she could see the cut on his cheek had stopped bleeding. But there were others. Bruises on his knuckles, a tear in his shirt that showed more damaged skin. "Look, princess. Those cars back there. They weren't random. Someone's looking for you. And trust me, you don't want them to find you." "How do you know that?" "Because they were looking for me too." Her stomach dropped. "What?" "We can talk inside. Out here we're sitting ducks." Room 7 was exactly what she'd expected. Faded carpet, sagging bed, and a bathroom that had seen better decades. But it was clean, and more importantly, it was hidden. Rafe locked the door and checked the windows. "Pull the curtains." "Are you going to tell me what's going on?" "You first." He leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Rich girl like you doesn't end up broken down on a back road at midnight unless she's running from something." Ella sat on the edge of the bed, suddenly exhausted. "It's complicated. I've got time." She studied his face. The hard jaw, the dark eyes that seemed to see too much. Everything about him screamed danger. But he'd helped her when he could have just kept riding. "My ex-boyfriend. I saw something I shouldn't have." "What kind of something?" "Money changing hands. A lot of money. And the man he was dealing with." She shivered. He had scars all over his face. And dead eyes. Rafe went very still. "Describe him." "Why?" "Just do it." Tall, thin. Scar from his ear to his mouth. And he was missing 2 fingers on his left hand. "Shit." Rafe pushed off the wall, pacing to the window. "Vincent Torres. You know him." "Everyone in my world knows Torres. He's bad news, princess. The kind that gets people buried in the desert." Ella's blood turned to ice. "And you think he's after me?" "I think your boyfriend made a deal he shouldn't have. And you became a loose end." The room felt smaller suddenly. Ella wrapped her arms around herself, trying to stop shaking. "Hey." Rafe's voice was softer now. "You're safe here." "How can you be sure?" "Because anyone who wants to get to you has to go through me first." The way he said it made her believe him. This dangerous stranger who'd pulled her out of the storm was willing to protect her. But why? What about you? She asked. Why were those cars chasing you? Rafe was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled off his torn shirt. Ella's breath caught. His chest was a map of scars and tattoos. But it was the fresh wounds that made her gasp, cuts and bruises that looked hours old. I used to ride with a club, he said. The Savage Sons. But I broke their rules. What rules? The kind you don't break and live to talk about. He moved to the bathroom and she heard water running. When he came back, he'd cleaned the blood from his face. The cut looked deeper than she'd thought. You should get some sleep, he said. Ella looked at the single bed, then at him. Where are you sleeping? I'm not. You can't stay awake all night. I've done worse. She wanted to argue, but exhaustion was winning. Her eyelids felt heavy, her body aching from the ride and the fear. At least sit down, she said, scooting over to make room. I'm fine standing. Rafe. She patted the bed beside her. Please. After a moment he sat. The mattress dipped under his weight and she caught his scent again. Leather and rain and something uniquely him. Why are you helping me? She asked. He was quiet so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, because everyone deserves a chance to run. Even from the Savage Sons? Especially from them. Ella lay down, pulling the thin blanket up to her chin. Rafe stayed sitting, staring at the door like he expected it to burst open any second. Get some sleep, he said. Tomorrow we figure out our next move. Our next move. He looked down at her, something unreadable in his dark eyes. You're stuck with me now, princess. Like it or not. Chapter 3. Motel Rules. Ella woke to the sound of Rafe's voice, low and rough in the darkness. No. Sarah, don't. He rolled over. He was still sitting on the edge of the bed, but his head was down, shoulders tense. Having a nightmare while awake. Rafe. He jerked, instantly alert. What's wrong? You were talking in your sleep. Who's Sarah? His jaw tightened. Nobody. The lie hung between them in the dark room. Outside she could hear trucks on the highway, the distant sound of normal people living normal lives. She envied them. It's 3 a.m, she said. You need to sleep. I told you I'm fine. And I told you you can't stay awake forever. She sat up, the blanket falling to her waist. Her silk blouse had dried but was wrinkled beyond repair. Rafe's eyes dropped to where the fabric clung to her curves, then quickly looked away. There's enough room for both of us, she said. Bad idea. Why? He stood up, pacing to the window again. Because I'm not a good man, Ella. And you're... I'm what? Innocent. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think I'm innocent? I was sleeping with a man who deals with killers. I ignored every red flag because he was rich and charming and everything my parents wanted for me. That doesn't make you like me. How do you know what I'm like? He turned to face her. In the dim light from outside, his tattoos looked like shadows on his skin. You wear silk blouses and drive a BMW. You've probably never been in a place like this. You're right. I haven't. She stood up, moving closer to him. But I'm here now. With you. Because you had no choice. I had a choice back on that highway. I could have stayed in my car and waited for those headlights to catch up. That would have been stupid. Maybe. Or maybe I trusted you. Something flickered in his eyes. You shouldn't. Too late. They stood there, barely 3 feet apart. Ella could see the rise and fall of his chest, the way his hands clenched at his sides like he was fighting himself. Go back to bed, he said. Come with me. Ella. I'm scared, Rafe. Not of you, but what's out there. Of what happens tomorrow. She reached for his hand. I don't want to be alone. His skin was warm, rough with calluses. He let her touch him for exactly 3 seconds before pulling away. This is a bad idea. I've been making those all night. She stepped closer. Close enough to see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. Close enough to smell his skin. Don't, he said, but his voice was softer now. Don't what? Look at me like that. Like what? Like you want me to kiss you. Her heart hammered against her ribs. What if I do? Then you're crazier than I thought. But he didn't move away. And when she rose on her toes, bringing her face closer to his, he didn't stop her. I think I am crazy, she whispered. Everything about this is insane. but I've never felt more alive. His control snapped. His mouth crashed down on hers, hard and desperate. She gasped, and he took advantage, his tongue sliding against hers. He tasted like danger and heat and everything her safe, predictable life had been missing. Her hands fisted in his hair, pulling him closer. He backed her against the wall, his body pressing against hers. She could feel every hard muscle, every scar. God, Ella, he groaned against her mouth. His hands tangled in her hair, tilting her head back so he could kiss her throat. She arched against him, a soft moan escaping her lips. This was nothing like kissing Marcus. Marcus had been careful, controlled. Rafe kissed like he might die if he stopped. His hands found the hem of her blouse, fingers brushing bare skin. She shivered, pressing closer. Then suddenly he was gone. Ella blinked, dazed. Rafe had moved across the room, putting the bed between them. His chest was heaving, his hair messed from her fingers. That shouldn't have happened, he said. Why not? Because you don't know what you're getting into. Then tell me. He shook his head. Get some sleep, Ella. We leave first thing in the morning. Rafe. I said no. The coldness in his voice hit her like a slap. 1 minute he was kissing her like she was the only thing keeping him alive. The next he was treating her like a stranger. Fine. She climbed back into bed, pulling the blanket up to her chin. But you're still not sleeping in that chair all night. Watch me. Stubborn man. But as she lay there in the dark, she could still taste him on her lips. Still feel the press of his body against hers. Whatever was between them, it wasn't going away just because he wanted it to. An hour later she heard him moving around. The soft sound of him checking the locks, the windows. Standing guard. Rafe, she whispered. What? Who's Sarah? Silence. Then, someone I couldn't save. Is that why you saved me? Go to sleep, Ella. But she was already learning that Rafe didn't answer questions he didn't want to. He had walls built so high she wondered if anyone had ever gotten through them. The kiss said maybe she could be the first. He let her. As she drifted off to sleep, she heard him settle into the chair by the door. Still watching. Still protecting her. Even from himself. When she woke up hours later, sunlight was streaming through the thin curtains. The chair by the door was empty. Rafe was gone. Chapter 4. Morning Regrets, Midnight Truths. Ella sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the empty chair. Her lips still tingled from Rafe's kiss, but he was gone like it never happened. Like she never happened. The bathroom door was open, showing it was empty too. No note. No explanation. Just the lingering scent of leather and broken promises. Bastard, she whispered. She checked her phone. Still no signal. Her car was 20 miles back and she had no idea where she was or how to get anywhere else. Perfect. Just perfect. A knock at the door made her freeze. Housekeeping, called a voice. Ella looked at the clock. It was barely 8 in the morning. Too early for housekeeping at a place like this. Another knock, harder this time. Her heart started racing. Something was wrong. She moved to the window and peered through the curtain. A black SUV sat in the parking lot. Not the same one from last night, but close enough to make her blood run cold. The doorknob rattled. Shit. Ella looked around the room frantically. The bathroom had a tiny window, but she'd never fit through it. The main door was the only way out and someone was on the other side of it. The lock clicked. They were picking it. Ella grabbed her purse and pressed herself against the wall behind the door. Her hands shook as she fumbled for her phone. Still no signal. The door opened slowly. A man stepped inside. Tall, thin, with scars covering half his face. Missing 2 fingers on his left hand. Vincent Torres. Well, he said, his voice like sandpaper. Where's your boyfriend, little bird? Ella's throat closed up. He knew she was there. I know you're here, pretty girl. Your biker boy left you all alone. Not very gentlemanly if you ask me. Another man entered behind Torres. Bigger, meaner looking. He had a gun. Check the bathroom, Torres said. Ella held her breath as the big man moved past her hiding spot. The second he was out of sight, she bolted for the door. There she is. She ran across the parking lot, her heels clicking on the asphalt. Behind her she heard cursing and heavy footsteps. Get her. A motel room door opened and the old desk clerk peered out. What's all the? Help me. Ella screamed. The old man's eyes went wide when he saw Torres and his man chasing her. He slammed his door shut. So much for help. Ella ran toward the highway. She could get to the road, maybe flag down a car. A hand grabbed her arm, spinning her around. The big man's grip was like iron. "Let me go." "No more running, little bird," Torres said, walking up casually. "We need to have a chat." "I don't know anything." "Sure you don't. You just happened to be in Marcus Webb's office when I was conducting business." The way he said business made her skin crawl. "I didn't see anything important." "Then you won't mind coming with us to discuss it." "I'm not going anywhere with you." Torres smiled, and it was the most terrifying thing she'd ever seen. "I'm afraid you don't have a choice." The sound of a motorcycle engine cut through the morning air. Torres's smile faded. "Shit." Rafe's bike roared into the parking lot. He took one look at the scene and gunned the engine, heading straight for them. The big man let go of Ella and reached for his gun. Rafe drove the bike right into him, sending him flying. The gun skittered across the asphalt. "Get on!" Rafe yelled, not even stopping. Ella ran for the bike as Rafe circled back around. Torres was shouting at his man, but the big guy wasn't getting up anytime soon. She jumped on behind Rafe just as Torres drew his own gun. "Go, go, go." Rafe didn't need to be told twice. They roared out of the parking lot as the first shot rang out. Ella pressed her face against his back, her arms locked around his waist. They were a mile down the highway before she could breathe again. "You came back," she said. "I never left." "What?" "I was watching from across the street. Saw them pull up." Relief flooded through her, followed quickly by anger. "You let me think you abandoned me." "I was protecting you." "By leaving me alone?" "By staying away from you." He took a sharp turn, leaning the bike into the curve. "Don't you get it? This is what happens when you're with me. People try to kill you." "People were already trying to kill me." "Yeah, well, now they're really trying." They rode in angry silence for several miles. Finally, Rafe pulled over at a gas station and killed the engine. "We need to talk," he said. They went inside. Rafe bought coffee and a map while Ella tried to process what had just happened. Torres had found her. Would have taken her if Rafe hadn't come back. "How did they find us?" she asked when they sat down at a plastic table. "Someone put a bounty on your head." "What?" "Torres isn't working alone. Someone hired him to find you." "Marcus." "Maybe. Or maybe whoever Marcus was dealing with." Rafe's jaw tightened. "Either way, they want you bad enough to put serious money on the table." "How do you know this?" "Because there's a bounty on me too." Ella stared at him. "What?" "The Savage Sons want me dead. Torres wants you alive. Someone figured out we're together and decided to kill two birds with one stone." "How much money are we talking about?" "Enough to bring every hunter and lowlife in 3 states looking for us." The coffee tasted like dirt, but it was hot and she needed the caffeine. "So what do? "We run. Fast and far." "For how long?" Rafe was quiet for a long moment. "Maybe forever." "That's not a life." "It's better than being dead." Ella thought about her apartment in Chicago. Her job. Her safe, predictable existence. All of it seemed like someone else's life now. "There has to be another way," she said. "Like what?" "We fight back." Rafe laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You and me against Torres, the Savage Sons, and whoever else wants us dead. That's not fighting back, princess. That's suicide." "Maybe. But I'm tired of running." "You've been running for 12 hours. It feels like forever." She reached across the table and took his hand. This time he didn't pull away. "You saved my life back there," she said. "I put your life in danger in the first place." "No, Marcus did that. And Torres. And whoever's paying him." She squeezed his fingers. "You're the only good thing that's happened to me since this nightmare started." Something flickered in his eyes. The same thing she'd seen right before he kissed her. "Ella. I know you think I'm some spoiled rich girl who doesn't know what she's getting into. And maybe you're right. But I'm here and I'm not going anywhere." "You should." "Too bad. You're stuck with me." Rafe studied her face for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He smiled. A real smile that transformed his whole face. "You're crazy," he said. "Probably. And stubborn." "Definitely. And you're going to get us both killed." "Maybe. But it'll be one hell of a ride." Chapter 5, Blood Vows. The abandoned cabin looked like it belonged in a horror movie. Broken windows, sagging roof, and weeds growing through the porch floorboards. But it was hidden deep in the woods, miles from any road. "Home sweet home," Rafe said, killing the bike's engine. Ella climbed off, her legs shaky after hours of riding. They'd been running all day, stopping only for gas and food. Every time she looked over her shoulder, she expected to see black SUVs. "How did you know about this place?" "Used to bring Sarah here." He grabbed their supplies from the bike. "Back when I thought hiding was enough." There was that name again. The woman he couldn't save. Inside the cabin was better than it looked. Someone had boarded up the broken windows and left basic supplies. Canned food, bottled water, a generator. "Safe house?" Ella asked. "Something like that." Rafe got the generator running while Ella explored. One room, one bed, and a fireplace that looked like it hadn't been used in years. But it was clean and isolated. "We should be safe here tonight," he said. "Should be. No place is completely safe. Not for us." The reality of their situation hit her again. They were fugitives now. Hunted by killers and criminals. All because she'd walked into the wrong office at the wrong time. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what?" "Getting you into this mess." Rafe laughed bitterly. "Princess, I was already in this mess long before I met you. Tell me about Sarah." His whole body went tense. "No. Rafe." I said no. But Ella was tired of his walls, tired of the secrets. "Was she your girlfriend?" "Drop it, Ella." "Did the savage sons kill her?" I said drop it. His shout echoed in the small cabin. Then the silence stretched between them, thick and painful. Finally, Rafe sat down heavily on the bed, his head in his hands. "She was my sister," he said quietly. Ella's heart clenched. "Oh, Rafe. 18 years old. Sweet kid. Too good for our family, too good for the life we lived." His voice was raw. "I tried to protect her, but I was young and stupid. Thought the club was everything." "What happened?" "She fell in love with the wrong guy. A lawyer from the city. Clean-cut, respectable. Everything she deserved." He looked up at Ella. "Everything she thought I could never be." The pieces started falling into place. "Marcus." "No. But same type. Same promises." Rafe's hands clenched into fists. "The club didn't like it. Said she was getting too close to people who could hurt us. So they gave me a choice." Ella's stomach dropped. "What kind of choice?" "Bring her back to the fold or they'd handle it themselves." "And you chose the club." "I chose wrong." His voice broke. "I thought I could control them, thought I could keep her safe while staying loyal. But they killed her anyway. Made it look like an accident." Tears burned Ella's eyes. She wanted to go to him, but something in his posture warned her off. "That's when I broke their rules," he continued. "When I decided the club could go to hell." "Is that why they want you dead?" "Partly." He was quiet for a long moment. "There's something else, Ella. Something I should have told you from the beginning." The way he said it made her blood run cold. "What?" "The night I found you on that highway. That wasn't random." "What do you mean?" "I mean I was looking for you." The world tilted. "Looking for me?" "Torres hired me to find you. Bring you to him." Rafe's voice was barely a whisper. "I was supposed to deliver you." Ella staggered backward like he'd hit her. "What?" "The club owed Torres a favor. He called it in, said he needed someone found. Someone who'd witnessed something they shouldn't have." "You were working for him?" "I was supposed to be." Her mind reeled. Everything, the rescue, the motel, the kiss, all of it had been a lie. "So when you found me, I was going to take you to him. That was the plan." "But you didn't." "No." "Why not?" Rafe looked at her then, and she saw something in his eyes that made her chest ache. "Because the second I saw you scared and alone in that car, I knew I couldn't do it. Because when you trusted me enough to get on my bike, I felt something I thought was dead." He stood up slowly. "As I fell for you, Ella. Hard and fast and completely." "You're lying." "I wish I was. You were going to hand me over to a killer. But I didn't. Only because you changed your mind." She was shaking now, fury and betrayal burning through her. "How do I know you won't change it back?" "Because I'd die first." Pretty words. "But you lied to me from the beginning." "I saved your life. After putting it in danger." She backed toward the door. "I trusted you. I thought, her voice broke. I thought you were different. I am different. Because of you. No. You're exactly who I thought you were when I first saw you. A criminal. A liar. The words hit him like physical blows. But Ella was too hurt, too angry to care. Ella, please. Don't. She fumbled in her purse, her hands shaking. Don't come any closer. What are you doing? Her fingers closed around cold metal. She pulled out the small pistol she'd bought years ago but never used. Her hands trembled as she pointed it at his chest. Stay back. Rafe went very still. Ella. I said stay back. You don't want to do this. How do you know what I want? You don't know anything about me. I know you're not a killer. Maybe I'm learning. They stared at each other across the small room. The gun felt impossibly heavy in her hands, but she didn't lower it. If you're going to shoot me, Rafe said quietly, then do it. But know this first. Everything I told you about falling for you is true. Every word. Liar. I've lied about a lot of things, Ella. But not about that. Never about that. The gun wavered in her grip. She wanted to believe him. God help her, even now, even knowing what he'd done, part of her still wanted to believe him. I was supposed to deliver you, he said. But instead I'm going to die for you. Because that's what love does, princess. It makes you choose. Stop. I chose you, Ella. From the moment I saw you, I chose you over everything else. The gun was shaking so hard she could barely hold it. Tears ran down her cheeks. I chose you too, she whispered. And you betrayed me. Then pull the trigger. They looked at each other in the fading light. Hunter and prey. Predator and victim. Lovers and enemies. The gun felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Outside night was falling. And somewhere in the darkness their enemies were closing in. Chapter 6. Enemies in the mirror. Pull the trigger, Ella. Rafe's voice was steady, but she could see the pain in his eyes. Not fear of death, pain at what he'd done to her. I should, she whispered, the gun shaking in her hands. Yes. You should. Stop saying that. Why? It's true. I betrayed you. I was going to hand you over to a killer. But you didn't. Only because I fell for your pretty eyes and your smart mouth. He took a step closer. That doesn't make me a good man, Ella. Don't move. But he kept walking toward her, slow and steady. Like approaching a wounded animal. I've done terrible things, he said. Hurt people who didn't deserve it. Followed orders I should have questioned. Let my sister down when she needed me most. Rafe, stop. You want to know why I really saved you? It wasn't some noble gesture. It was selfish. Another step. I saw a chance to finally do something right and I took it. Stay back. Shoot me, Ella. Put us both out of our misery. He was close enough to touch now. Close enough that she could see the scars on his chest, the tattoos that told the story of a hard life. I can't, she sobbed. Why not? Because I love you, you bastard. The words hung in the air between them. Raw and honest and devastating. I know, he said gently. I love you too. His hand covered hers on the gun. Not taking it away, just touching her. I fell for you so hard I forgot everything else, he whispered. Forgot the job, forgot the club, forgot every rule I'd ever lived by. All I could think about was keeping you safe. You lied to me. Yes. You were going to betray me. Yes. How can I trust you now? You can't. His honesty was like a knife to her heart. But somehow it also made her trust him more. Then why should I put this gun down? Because shooting me won't change what I did. And it won't keep you alive. His fingers closed over hers, gently lowering the weapon. Besides, he said with a sad smile, you're not a killer, princess. It's one of the things I love about you. She let him take the gun, feeling empty without its weight. I hate you, she said. I know. I hate that I love you. I know that too. She hit his chest with her fist, not hard enough to hurt but enough to express her frustration. Damn you, Rafe. Damn you for making me care. He caught her hand, pressing it flat against his heart. She could feel it beating strong and steady. If it helps, I hate myself too, he said. It doesn't help. Didn't think it would. They stood there in the gathering darkness, her hand on his chest, his covering hers. She should pull away. Should demand he take her somewhere safe and leave her alone. Instead she found herself studying his face. The sharp cheekbones, the dark eyes that had seen too much, the mouth that had kissed her like she was everything. "Tell me about your sister," she said quietly. Pain flashed across his features. "Ella. Please. I need to understand." He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then he sank down on the bed, suddenly looking exhausted. "Sarah was everything good in our family. Smart, funny kind. She wanted to be a teacher." His voice was soft with memory. "Used to tutor kids in the neighborhood for free." Ella sat beside him, not touching but close enough to offer comfort. She was 19 when she met David Webb, a lawyer from downtown. Clean record, respectable family, bright future. Rafe's hands clenched. "Everything I wasn't." Webb. Like Marcus Webb. His older brother. Ella's blood ran cold. "What?" "David Webb was going to marry my sister. Had the ring and everything." Rafe's voice turned bitter. "Until the club decided she was a liability." "Oh my God. They said she knew too much, could expose us. It was bullshit. Sarah never asked questions about what I did. She just loved me despite it." "What happened to her?" "Car accident. Brake lines cut. She died on impact." His voice broke. "David was driving. He survived but barely. Spent months in the hospital. And you think the club?" "I know the club did it. Just like I know they made sure David never recovered enough to ask questions." Ella felt sick. "What do you mean?" "David Webb died 6 months later. Officially from his injuries. Unofficially." Rafe shrugged. "The club doesn't leave loose ends." The pieces fell into place with horrible clarity. Marcus is his brother. Marcus Webb has been hunting the Savage Sons ever since. Using his connections, his money, his law firm to gather evidence. That's why he was meeting with Torres. Torres isn't working for Marcus, Ella. He's working against him. Her mind reeled. "What?" "Think about it. You saw Marcus hand Torres money, right? What if it wasn't payment? What if Marcus was trying to buy information? Or trying to buy protection?" "Exactly. Marcus knows the club is onto him. He's been getting close, gathering evidence. So they sent Torres to eliminate the threat. And I walked right into the middle of it. You and Marcus both. Now Torres has a reason to come after you, and the club has a reason to come after me." Ella stared at him. "We're not just running from Torres. No. We're running from everyone." The weight of it hit her. They weren't just two lovers on the run. They were caught in the middle of a war between the Savage Sons and Marcus Webb. A war that had started with the murder of Rafe's sister. "Marcus is trying to get justice for your sister," she said. "And I've been running from the people who killed her. So we're on the same side." "Are we?" Rafe looked at her. "Marcus might see me as just another biker to eliminate. And the club definitely sees you as Marcus's ally. Then we trust each other. That's all we have. Even after what I told you?" Ella was quiet for a long moment. The betrayal still hurt, but she was beginning to understand the bigger picture. "You were going to hand me over to save yourself," she said. "Yes. But you chose to save me instead." "Yes. Even though it meant becoming a target yourself." "Yes." She turned to face him fully. "Then maybe you're not as bad as you think you are. Ella. You made a mistake. A big one. But when it mattered, you chose to do the right thing. That doesn't erase what I almost did. No, it doesn't. But it tells me who you really are underneath all the leather and tattoos." He searched her face. "And who am I?" "Someone worth saving." Before he could respond, she leaned over and kissed him. Soft and tentative at first, then deeper when he didn't pull away. "I'm still angry at you," she whispered against his lips. "Good. Stay angry. It'll keep you sharp. And I don't completely trust you yet. Smart girl. But I'm not going anywhere. Even if it gets you killed? Even then." This time when he kissed her, there was desperation in it. Like he was trying to memorize the taste of her, the feel of her in his arms. "We're going to die, aren't we?" she asked. "Probably. Any regrets?" He looked at her for a long moment. "Just one." "What's that?" "That I didn't meet you before I became this person. I like this person. You're crazy. We've established that." Outside, the wind picked up, making the old cabin creak. Somewhere in the distance she thought she heard engines. "Rafe." "I hear them too. They looked at each other in the dim light. Their hunters had found them again. Time to run, she asked. Time to fight. Chapter 7. The Savage Pact. The engines were getting closer. Rafe moved to the window, peering through the boards. 3 bikes. Maybe 4. Savage sons. Has to be. Torres would come in cars. Ella grabbed her purse, checking for the gun. Back exit. Through the kitchen. But they'll have it covered. So we're trapped. Not trapped. Cornered. Rafe turned away from the window. There's a difference. Which is? Trapped animals die. Cornered animals fight. The sound of boots on the porch made them both freeze. Then a voice called out, rough and familiar. Rafe. We know you're in there, brother. Rafe cursed under his breath. Tank. Friend of yours. Used to be. More footsteps. They were surrounding the cabin. Come on out, Rafe. Bring the girl. Let's talk this through like civilized people. Since when are the savage sons civilized? Rafe called back. Laughter from outside. Fair point. But we're feeling generous tonight. You come out, we'll make it quick. And the girl. Torres wants her alive. After that. The voice trailed off meaningfully. Ella shuddered. Rafe's jaw tightened. Counter offer, he yelled. You all go back to the clubhouse and I won't burn it down. Big talk for a dead man. I'm not dead yet. Give it 5 minutes. Something crashed through the boarded window. A beer bottle with a burning rag stuffed in the neck. Molotov, Rafe said, pushing Ella toward the kitchen. They're done talking. Flames spread across the old wooden floor. Smoke filled the small space. The back door is covered. I told you. More bottles crashed through other windows. The cabin was becoming an inferno. So what do we do? Rafe looked at her, something calculating in his eyes. We give them what they want. What? Trust me. He kicked open the back door. 2 bikers waited outside, guns drawn. Well, one of them said. Look what crawled out of the fire. Hey, Crow, Rafe said casually. How's the wife? Dead thanks to you. She was dead long before I left the club and you know it. Crow's finger tightened on the trigger. Maybe. But you're about to join her. Wait, said the other man. Tank wants to talk to him first. They marched Rafe and Ella around to the front of the burning cabin. 3 more bikers waited, along with a mountain of a man covered in tattoos. Rafe Santos, Tank said, shaking his head. Look at you. Running around with pretty rich girls playing house in the woods. Hello, Tank. You know, when you disappeared I figured you'd gone to ground somewhere. Laying low until the heat died down. Tank circled them slowly. But you've been busy, haven't you? I've been surviving. Have you? Because from where I stand, it looks like you've been making everything worse. Tank stopped in front of Ella. She forced herself not to flinch when he looked her up and down. This the Webb girl? I'm not, Ella started. She's got nothing to do with this, Rafe interrupted. Bullshit. Torres has a bounty on her head. Big money. And you stole her right out from under him. I saved her life. You cost us a payday. And pissed off some very dangerous people. Tank gestured to his men. You know what the penalty is for betraying the club. I didn't betray anyone. No? Then why is Torres hunting us like dogs? Why are the cops asking questions about Sarah's accident? Rafe went very still. What cops? Detective from Chicago. Been sniffing around asking about David Webb's car crash. About Sarah's too. Ella's heart hammered. Marcus was getting close. So you see, Tank continued, your little girlfriend here isn't just Torres's problem. She's our problem too. She doesn't know anything. Maybe not. But we can't take that chance. Tank pulled out a gun, pointing it at Ella's head. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to give her to Torres like we promised. And you're going to take a long ride off a short cliff. Wait, Rafe said quickly. Time for talking is over, brother. What if I told you I could give you something better than Torres's money? Tank paused. Like what? Like Marcus Webb himself. The words hung in the air. Ella stared at Rafe, not sure if he was brilliant or insane. Keep talking, Tank said. Webb's been building a case against the club. He's got evidence, witnesses, documentation. Everything he needs to bring you all down. We know that. Why do you think we want the girl? Because she's his connection. She knows how to find him. Do you? Tank asked Ella directly. She looked at Rafe, trying to read his expression. He gave the slightest nod. Yes, she said. I know where he is. And you'd give him up to save your own skin? I'd do anything to stay alive. Tank studied them both. What's your angle, Rafe? No angle. I want back in. Back in what? The club. I made a mistake, Tank. Let my dick do my thinking. But I'm done running. Tank laughed. You expect me to believe you'd betray your girlfriend for a patch? I expect you to believe I'd do anything to stop looking over my shoulder. The silence stretched. Around them the cabin burned, sending sparks into the night sky. Here's my counter-offer, Tank said finally. You bring me Webb and I'll consider letting you both live. Both of us. The girl's useful. Pretty face, clean record. Could be valuable for certain operations. Ella's skin crawled, but she forced herself to nod. I can work with that. Course you can, sweetheart. Rich girls always land on their feet. So we have a deal? Rafe asked. Tank considered. 72 hours. You bring me Marcus Webb alive and we'll discuss terms. And if we can't? Then Torres gets the girl and you get a bullet. Fair enough. Tank holstered his gun. Don't make me regret this, Rafe. I won't. And don't try running again. We'll be watching. The bikers mounted their rides and roared off into the night, leaving Rafe and Ella alone with the burning cabin. Please tell me you have a plan, Ella said. I do. Care to share? Rafe looked at her, something fierce and determined in his eyes. We're going to give them exactly what they want. We're going to betray Marcus? No. We're going to save him. And use the club to take down Torres in the process. How? By walking into the lion's den and pretending to be lions ourselves. The cabin collapsed behind them in a shower of sparks and flame. You realize this is insane, Ella said. Completely. And we'll probably die. Most likely. And if we survive, we'll have made enemies of everyone. Pretty much. She looked at him, this dangerous, complicated man who'd turned her whole world upside down. When do we start? Now. We need to get to the clubhouse before Tank changes his mind. The clubhouse. Where they wanted to kill you an hour ago. The same one. And we're just going to walk in there? Not walk. Ride. He gestured to his bike. And not as prisoners. As what then? Rafe's smile was sharp as a blade. As savage sons. The fire reflected in his dark eyes, and for the first time since this nightmare began, Ella felt something that might have been hope. Or it might have been madness. Either way, she was all in. Chapter 8. Fire and Gasoline. The Savage Sons clubhouse looked like a fortress. Steel gates, razor wire, and at least 6 armed men patrolling the perimeter. Music and laughter drifted from inside, along with the smell of barbecue and motor oil. Home sweet home, Rafe muttered, pulling up to the gate. A biker with a shotgun recognized him. Well shit. Look what the cat dragged in. Hey Diesel. Miss me? Like a hemorrhoid. Diesel's eyes shifted to Ella. This the Webb girl? In the flesh. Pretty. Too pretty for you. That's what I keep telling her. Diesel waved them through. As they rode into the compound, Ella felt dozens of eyes tracking their movement. Most of the stares were hostile. Remember, Rafe said quietly, you're my old lady now. That means you belong to me and I protect you. But it also means you show respect to the club. What kind of respect? Don't talk back to the officers. Don't start fights. And whatever happens, don't let them see you're scared. I am scared. Good. Fear keeps you alive. Just don't show it. They parked in front of the main building. The clubhouse was bigger than it looked from outside. A sprawling complex of bars, meeting rooms, and what looked like living quarters. Tank emerged from the main entrance, flanked by 2 other men Ella didn't recognize. Rafe. Welcome home, brother. The greeting was friendly, but Ella could hear the edge underneath. These men were dangerous and Rafe had betrayed them once before. Good to be back, Rafe said, dismounting. And this must be the famous Miss Webb. Ella slid off the bike, fighting to keep her expression neutral. That's me. Heard a lot about you. All bad. I get that a lot. Tank laughed. I like her already. Come on, let's get you both a drink. The inside of the clubhouse was exactly what Ella expected. Dark, smoky and filled with leather-clad men drinking beer and playing pool. Several women hung around the edges, some clearly girlfriends, others obviously there for other purposes. All conversation stopped when they walked in. "Brothers," Tank called out. "Look who decided to come home." The response was mixed. Some men nodded in acknowledgement. Others glared openly. A few looked like they wanted to start shooting immediately. "Rafe Santos," said a voice from the back. "Thought you were dead." A tall, thin man pushed through the crowd. Ella recognized him from the cabin. Crow, the one whose wife had died. "Disappointed?" Rafe asked. "Relieved. Now I can kill you myself." The room went quiet. Ella felt the tension spike like electricity before a storm. "Crow," Tank warned. "Not here. Not now." "Why not?" "He betrayed the club. Betrayed his brothers. He came back. To save his own skin. Maybe. Or maybe to make things right." Crow stepped closer to Rafe. "You cost me everything. My wife, my respect, my place in this club." "Your wife was sick long before I left, Crow. The cancer. The medical bills. We could have paid them if you hadn't blown the Torres job. I did what I thought was right. You did what your dick told you to do." Crow's hand moved to the knife on his belt. Several other men shifted, hands moving to weapons. "Enough." Tank's voice cut through the tension. "We settle this later. Right now we have business." But Crow wasn't backing down. "No. We settle it now." He lunged at Rafe with the knife. Rafe sidestepped, grabbing Crow's wrist and twisting. The blade clattered to the floor. "I don't want to fight you," Rafe said. "Too bad." Crow threw a punch. Rafe ducked and countered, his fist connecting with Crow's ribs. The sound was like breaking wood. The crowd formed a circle, shouting encouragement. This was entertainment to them. Crow came again, this time landing a solid hit to Rafe's jaw. Blood sprayed. But Rafe didn't go down. "Stop it!" Ella shouted, stepping forward. "Stay back," Tank grabbed her arm. "This is club business. This is stupid business." The fight continued. Both men were bleeding now, circling each other like wolves. But Ella could see Rafe was holding back, trying not to seriously hurt his former brother. Crow had no such restraint. He grabbed a beer bottle from a nearby table, smashing it against the bar. The jagged edge caught the light as he swung it at Rafe's face. Rafe jerked back, but not fast enough. The glass opened a cut from his ear to his jawline. "Enough." Ella broke free from Tank's grip. Before anyone could stop her, she grabbed a pool cue from the nearest table and brought it down hard across Crow's shoulders. The room went dead silent. Crow spun around, fury in his eyes. "You little bitch. Touch her and die," Rafe said, his voice deadly quiet. "She doesn't belong here. She belongs to me. That makes her family." "Family?" Crow laughed bitterly. "You don't know the meaning of the word. I know it better than you think." Something in Rafe's tone made Crow pause. Around them, the other bikers watched with fascination. "My sister Sarah," Rafe continued. "She believed in family. In loyalty. In doing what's right." He wiped blood from his face. "She'd be ashamed of what we've become. Don't you dare. She'd be ashamed of me for running. And she'd be ashamed of you for letting grief turn you into an animal." Crow's face crumpled. For a moment he looked less like a dangerous criminal and more like a broken man. "She was supposed to get better," he whispered. "The doctors said." "I know. I'm sorry." "Are you? Or are you just sorry you got caught?" Rafe was quiet for a long moment. "Both." The honesty seemed to deflate Crow's anger. He dropped the broken bottle. "This doesn't make us even," he said. "I know. But it's a start." Tank stepped between them. "Are we done here?" Both men nodded. "Good. Now let's talk business." They moved to a back room away from the crowd. Tank poured whiskey while Ella helped Rafe clean his cuts. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly. "Yes, I did. You were holding back." "He was grieving. He was trying to kill you." "Same thing sometimes." Tank returned with the drinks. "Quite a show, girl. You've got backbone. I've got survival instincts. In this world they're the same thing." He raised his glass. "To family." They drank. The whiskey burned, but it helped calm Ella's nerves. "Now," Tank said, "let's talk about Marcus Webb." What do you want to know? Where he is. How to get to him. What kind of security he's got. Ella and Rafe exchanged glances. They were walking a tightrope now, trying to appear cooperative while secretly planning to save Marcus. He's paranoid, Ella said. Moves around a lot. But I know his patterns. Such as. He has a safe house outside the city. Off the grid, but I've been there. It was true mostly. Marcus had mentioned the place once, but Ella had never actually seen it. How many men does he have with him? 2, maybe 3. He doesn't trust large groups. Also true as far as she knew. Tank nodded approvingly. When can you get us close? Give me a day to make contact. Set up a meeting. What kind of meeting? I'll tell him I escaped from you. That I have information about the Savage Sons. And then you'll be waiting for him. Tank smiled. I like it. Simple, direct. The best plans usually are. Indeed. Tank finished his whiskey. There's a room upstairs. You two can stay there tonight. Rest up for tomorrow. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. If this goes wrong, you'll both be dead by sunset. They were escorted to a small room on the second floor. It had a bed, a dresser, and a window that looked out over the compound. Cozy, Ella said, testing the door. Locked from the outside. They don't completely trust us yet. Smart of them. Rafe sat heavily on the bed, exhaustion finally showing. The fight had taken more out of him than he'd let on. Let me look at that cut, Ella said. She sat beside him, examining the wound. It was deep but clean. The bleeding had mostly stopped. You need stitches. It'll heal. Not properly. She found a first aid kit in the dresser and began cleaning the wound properly. Rafe hissed as the antiseptic hit raw flesh. Sorry. It's fine. No, it's not. None of this is fine. She pressed a bandage to his cheek, her fingers gentle against his skin. When she looked up, she found him watching her with an intensity that made her breath catch. Ella. Don't. Don't what? Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you want to kiss me. I do want to kiss you. We can't. Not here. Not with them listening. Let them listen. His hand cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek. I meant what I said downstairs. You belong to me now. Do I? In every way that matters. This time when he kissed her, she didn't pull away. Couldn't pull away. The fear, the adrenaline, the constant danger. It all combined into something desperate and consuming. His hands tangled in her hair, pulling her closer. She could taste blood on his lips, feel the heat of his skin through his shirt. Rafe, she whispered. I know. I know we shouldn't. I don't care anymore. Neither do I. They fell back onto the bed together, hands roaming, desperate to touch and be touched. Outside she could hear the sounds of the clubhouse. Laughter, music, engines revving. But in this room there was only them. His mouth traced her throat while his hands worked at the buttons of her blouse. She arched against him, every nerve ending on fire. Are you sure? He asked. I'm sure of nothing except this. That's enough. When he finally claimed her completely, it was with a passion that burned away everything else. Every fear, every doubt, every rational thought. There was only the slide of skin against skin, the sound of their breathing, the overwhelming need to be as close as possible. Afterward, they lay tangled together, her head on his chest, his arms wrapped around her. We're really doing this, she said. Which part? All of it. The plan, the club, this. Having second thoughts? Third and fourth thoughts. But I'm still here. Good. Because I'm not letting you go. Even if it gets us both killed? Especially then. She was about to respond when her phone buzzed. She'd forgotten she even had it. Text message, she said, reaching for her purse. The message was from a number she didn't recognize. Location confirmed. Moving in at dawn. Rafe. Her blood turned to ice. Look at this. He sat up, reading the message. Shit. Who would? She stopped, a horrible realization dawning. They've been tracking me. What? My phone, my purse, something. They've been following us this whole time. Rafe was already moving, dumping out her purse on the bed. Makeup, wallet, keys, receipts. And there, stuck to the bottom of her lipstick case, was a small electronic device. GPS tracker, he said grimly. How long has it been there? Could have been there from the beginning. Torres, the club, hell, even Marcus could have planted it. Which means they know exactly where we are. Outside she heard the sound of engines. Multiple engines getting closer. Dawn was optimistic, Rafe said, moving to the window. They're here now. Chapter 9. Ride into Hell. The attack came from 3 sides at once. SUVs smashed through the compound gates while helicopters circled overhead, searchlights cutting through the darkness. The sound of automatic gunfire echoed across the night. Federal agents. A voice boomed over a loudspeaker. This is a raid. Nobody move. Ella pressed against the window, watching chaos erupt below. Bikers scattered like ants, some running for weapons, others just running. How did they? She started. The tracker, Rafe said grimly. Someone's been playing a longer game than we thought. Their door burst open. Tank stood there with 2 other Savage Sons, all armed. Move. Now. What's happening? What's happening is you led the feds right to us. We didn't know. Save it. We're getting out of here and you're coming with us. They were hustled downstairs and out a back exit. The compound was in chaos. Gunfire, shouting, smoke grenades going off. Several buildings were already burning. This way. Tank led them toward a line of motorcycles. We've got a back route. A sniper's bullet took him in the chest. Tank went down hard, blood spreading across his shirt. The other 2 bikers opened fire wildly, trying to find the shooter. Tank. Rafe knelt beside the big man. Get out of here, Tank gasped. They're not here for us. What do you mean? Webb. This is Webb's play. He used the girl to find us. Ella's blood ran cold. That's not true. The tracker had to come from him. Nobody else could coordinate this kind of operation. More gunfire erupted around them. One of the other bikers spun and fell, clutching his shoulder. We need to move. Rafe shouted. But it was too late. Black-clad federal agents were surrounding them, assault rifles trained on their position. Drop your weapons. Hands where we can see them. The remaining biker looked like he wanted to fight. Rafe put a hand on his arm. Don't. It's over. They raised their hands. Within seconds they were on the ground, zip ties cutting into their wrists. Rafe Santos, said the lead agent, checking his face against a photo. You're a hard man to find. Not hard enough, apparently. The agent turned to Ella. Ms. Webb. You're safe now. Webb. Rafe stared at her. Your name is Webb? Ella's heart shattered at the betrayal in his eyes. Rafe, I can explain. Explain what? That you've been lying this whole time. She's Marcus Webb's daughter, the agent said. Didn't you know? The words hit Rafe like a physical blow. Ella saw something die in his eyes. His daughter, he repeated softly. Rafe, please. You've been playing me from the beginning. No. I didn't know you were connected to Sarah, I swear. But you knew who I was. What I'd done. Not at first. When did you figure it out? Ella couldn't answer. Because the truth was she'd suspected for days, had known for certain since the cabin. And she'd said nothing. Get him out of here, the lead agent ordered. They hauled Rafe to his feet. As they dragged him toward a waiting van, he looked back at her one last time. I loved you, he said. I actually loved you. Then he was gone. Ella tried to follow, but another agent blocked her path. Ms. Webb, I'm Agent Morrison. Your father sent us. My father is dead. No, ma'am. Your father is very much alive and very worried about you. The world tilted. What? We need to get you somewhere safe. You've been through a traumatic experience. Where's Rafe? What are you doing with him? That's not your concern anymore. Like hell it's not. But they were already escorting her to a separate vehicle. As they drove away from the burning compound, Ella saw body bags being loaded into a coroner's van. How many people had died because of the tracker in her purse? The safe house was actually a luxury hotel downtown. Agent Morrison led her to a suite on the top floor, where a man in an expensive suit was waiting. Marcus Webb looked older than she remembered, with gray at his temples and lines around his eyes. But he was definitely alive. Hello, Ella. Dad. He opened his arms and she ran into them, years of hurt and confusion temporarily forgotten. I thought you were dead, she sobbed. They said you were dead. I had to disappear. It was the only way to protect you. Protect me from what? From the people who killed David. Who killed that girl Sarah Santos. She pulled back to look at him. You know about Sarah? I know everything. The Savage Sons murdered my son and his girlfriend because they were getting too close to the truth about the club's operations. What truth? Human trafficking, drug running, murder for hire. The Savage Sons aren't just a motorcycle club, Ella. They're a criminal organization. And you've been building a case against them. For 3 years. Tonight was the culmination of that work. Ella thought about Tank dying in the dirt, about Rafe's face when he learned her real name. How many people died tonight? Not nearly as many as they've killed over the years. That's not an answer. Marcus studied her face. You care about him. The Santos boy. His name is Rafe. He's a criminal, Ella. A killer. He saved my life. He put your life in danger in the first place. No, you did that. By faking your death, by leaving me alone, by making me a target. Marcus stepped back like she'd slapped him. I was protecting you. By lying to me. By letting me think I was an orphan. By keeping you away from this world. Away from people like him. People like him are the only reason I'm still alive. Ella. Marcus's voice was gentler now. I know you think you have feelings for him. Stockholm Syndrome is common in kidnapping situations. He didn't kidnap me. He was hired to deliver you to Vincent Torres. That's kidnapping. But he didn't do it. Only because he fell for you first. Do you really think that makes him a good man? Ella was quiet for a moment. Maybe not. But it makes him my man. He's going to prison, sweetheart. For a very long time. Unless what? Marcus raised an eyebrow. Unless what? There's always an unless. What do you want from me? Her father walked to the window looking out over the city. Torres is still out there. He has connections, resources, people willing to kill for money. And he knows you can identify him. As long as he's free, you're in danger. So you want me as bait. I want you to help me finish this. Ella felt a chill run down her spine. How? Let Torres think he can get to you. Draw him out into the open. That's insane. It's justice. It's revenge. Marcus turned back to her. Sometimes they're the same thing. And if I refuse? Then Torres stays free and you spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. What about Rafe? What about him? If I help you get Torres, what happens to Rafe? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. That depends. On what? On whether he's willing to help us too. Ella's heart hammered. You'd make a deal with him? If it gets us Torres, yes. I want to see him. Ella. I want to see him, or you can find another way to catch Torres. Her father studied her face, probably seeing the same stubborn streak that had gotten her into this mess in the first place. One conversation, he said finally. That's all. That's all I need. But even as she said it, Ella wondered if it was true. Because seeing Rafe again meant facing the look in his eyes when he'd learned her real name. It meant confronting the possibility that everything between them had been built on lies. And it meant deciding once and for all which side of this war she was really on. Outside the hotel window, the city sparkled with lights. Somewhere out there, Vincent Torres was planning his next move. And somewhere else, Rafe Santos was sitting in a cell, probably hating her. The game was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Chapter 10. One last ride. The federal holding facility looked like a fortress. Concrete walls, armed guards, and enough security cameras to film a movie. But Marcus Webb's influence opened doors that money couldn't. Ella sat across from Rafe in a sterile interview room, a thick sheet of bulletproof glass between them. He looked terrible. Bruises on his face, his left eye swollen shut, his hands cuffed to the table. They hurt you, she said. I've had worse. His voice was cold, distant. Nothing like the man who'd whispered her name in the darkness just hours ago. Rafe, I need you to listen to me. Why? So you can tell me more lies. So I can tell you the truth. The truth. He laughed bitterly. Which version? The scared event planner running from her ex-boyfriend? Or the federal agent's daughter playing games with criminals? I'm not a federal agent. But you are Marcus Webb's daughter. She couldn't deny it. Yes. The same Marcus Webb who's been hunting the Savage Sons for 3 years. Yes. The same Marcus Webb who got my sister killed. that stopped her cold. What? Sarah was getting close to David Webb. Your cousin. They were going to expose the club together, weren't they? I don't know anything about that. Don't you? Or are you just pretending not to know like you pretended not to know who I was? Ella pressed her hands against the glass. I didn't know about Sarah until you told me. I swear on my life. Your word doesn't mean much right now. Then let me prove it. How? Help me take down Torres. Rafe stared at her. You're joking. My father wants to use me as bait. Draw Torres out so they can arrest him. And you want my help with that? I want your help saving your club brothers. What club brothers? Half of them are dead, the other half are in here with me. Not all of them. Ella leaned forward. Torres isn't working alone. He's got backing, money, resources. The federal raid last night was just the beginning. Beginning of what? A war. Torres is going to blame the Savage Sons for betraying him. He's going to come after everyone. Club members, their families, anyone connected to the organization. Good. Maybe they deserve it. Including Crow? Including the guys who were just trying to survive. Rafe's expression flickered. She was getting through to him. What are you proposing? We set a trap. Make Torres think he's getting what he wants. Me and you, while actually delivering him to my father. And then everyone goes free. The surviving Savage Sons get immunity deals. Torres goes to prison and this war ends. What makes you think I trust you enough to go along with this? Ella pulled out her phone and showed him a photo. It was Rafe Santos, young and smiling, wearing a graduation cap. Where did you get this? My father's files. He's been investigating her death, Rafe. He knows the Savage Sons killed her on Torres's orders. Rafe's face went white. What? Torres was afraid Sarah and David were getting too close to his operation. He paid the club to eliminate them both. That's impossible. The club doesn't take orders from outside. They do when the price is right. Torres paid them $500,000 to stage those accidents. You're lying. Check the dates. Sarah died on March 15th. David died 6 months later. Torres made 2 payments to a Savage Sons account, March 10th and September 10th. Rafe stared at the phone screen, his hands shaking. Tank told me it was club business. That Sarah was a security risk. Tank lied. They all lied. Why would Torres want them dead? Because Sarah was a teacher and David was a lawyer. They were asking questions about missing girls from Sarah's school. Girls who disappeared and were never found. The pieces fell into place in Rafe's eyes. The trafficking operation. Torres has been running girls through this region for years. Sarah and David were close to exposing him. So he had them killed. And let the club take the blame. Let you think you were protecting family honor when you were really just covering up murder. Rafe sat back in his chair, the fight going out of him. Jesus Christ. Help me get him, Rafe. Help me get justice for Sarah. What's the plan? Ella outlined the trap they'd set. She would contact Torres, tell him she'd escaped from federal custody and wanted to trade information for protection. The meeting would be at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Torres will bring backup, Rafe said. So will we. The surviving Savage Sons are being held at a minimum security facility about an hour from here. A few of them might be willing to help if it means taking down the man who really killed Sarah. And your father? Will be waiting with federal agents to arrest Torres and his men. What's to stop him from arresting all of us too? My word that you're cooperating. Your word. It's all I have left to give you. Rafe studied her face through the glass. If this goes wrong, we're all dead. If we don't try, more people die. Including you. What do you mean? Torres has people in the federal system. He knows you're here, knows you're talking to me. How long do you think it'll be before you have an accident in your cell? That got his attention. You think he'd risk it? He's killed federal witnesses before. Rafe was quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you need from me? I need you to trust me. One more time. That's a hell of a thing to ask. I know. After everything that's happened. I know. If you're lying to me again, if this is some elaborate setup. It's not. I swear to you, Rafe, this is real. He looked at her for a long time. Why should I believe you? Because I love you. The words hung between them, simple and devastating. Do you? He asked quietly. Yes. Even knowing what I've done? What I've been part of? I know who you are underneath all of that. I've seen the man who saved me, who protected me, who would have died for me. That man was built on lies. No, that man was real. Everything else was lies. Tears ran down her cheeks. I love you, Rafe Santos. All of you. The good and the bad and everything in between. Ella. And if you help me do this, if we survive this, I'll spend the rest of my life proving it to you. And if we don't survive? Then at least we'll die together. Rafe smiled for the first time since she'd entered the room. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. Is that a yes? That's a yes. The warehouse district was deserted at midnight. Empty buildings and broken streetlights created perfect shadows for an ambush. Ella parked her car in front of the designated building and checked her watch. Torres was late. Maybe he's not coming, she said into the wire she was wearing. He'll come, Marcus's voice crackled in her earpiece. Stay calm. Easier said than done. Every shadow could hide a sniper, every sound could be enemy movement. Headlights appeared at the end of the street. 3 black SUVs moving slowly. Here we go, Ella whispered. The vehicles surrounded her car. Men in dark clothing emerged, all armed. Torres stepped out of the middle SUV, his scarred face visible in the streetlight. Ms. Webb, he called out. So good to see you again. Torres. I have to admit I'm surprised. When I heard you'd escaped from federal custody, I thought it was too good to be true. Believe it. Oh, I do. But I also believe you're not here alone. Ella's blood chilled. What do you mean? I mean, this whole area is crawling with federal agents. Did you really think I wouldn't notice? Gunfire erupted from the surrounding buildings. Torres's men took cover behind their vehicles, returning fire. It's a trap. Agent Morrison's voice shouted over the radio. She's blown. But then Ella heard something else. The sound of motorcycle engines coming fast. The surviving Savage Sons roared into the warehouse district, guns blazing. Crow led them, his face a mask of fury and determination. For Sarah, he screamed, firing at Torres's men. The battle was chaos. Federal agents, criminals, and bikers all fighting in the dark. Ella dove behind her car as bullets flew overhead. Ella. Rafe's voice cut through the noise. She looked up to see him riding toward her on his bike, somehow free from federal custody. Get on. He didn't hesitate. As soon as she was behind him, Rafe gunned the engine and they roared away from the firefight. How did you? Your father kept his word. Temporary release to help with the operation. Is it working? Look behind us. Ella turned to see Torres being dragged away in handcuffs. His men were either dead or surrendering. The trap had worked, but barely. It's over, she said. Not quite. They rode through the night, leaving the city behind. Only when they reached the highway did Rafe slow down. Where are we going? Ella asked. I don't know. Away. The deal with my father is done. Torres is in custody, his operation is finished. The Savage Sons who survived will get their immunity deals. And you? I'm officially dead. Killed trying to escape during the warehouse raid. Ella's arms tightened around his waist. So what happens now? Now we disappear. New names, new lives, new everything. Together. If you want. She thought about her life in Chicago. Her job, her apartment, her safe and predictable existence. All of it felt like someone else's dream now. What kind of life would we have? I don't know. Probably not an easy one. But we'd be together. We'd be together. And free. And free. The highway stretched ahead of them, empty and full of possibility. One last ride, she asked. One first ride, he corrected. This is just the beginning. Ella pressed her face against his back, feeling his heart beat through his leather jacket. Behind them, the city lights faded into darkness. Ahead of them lay the unknown. But for the first time in her life, the unknown didn't scare her. Because she wasn't facing it alone. The bike carried them into the dawn, 2 shadows against the rising sun. Free, alive, and together. It was enough. It was everything. The end.